A pretty big domino falls in relation to the 2026 NFL Draft. Another name is added to our coaching search. And are we in line for a receiver in the first round of this draft? Let's talk about it, folks. Welcome back to Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law, and I got you when it comes to Cardinals news, talk, reports, rumors, everything, all right? Thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. If you're already part of the squad, I appreciate you for riding with us day one. We're currently at about 596 Bird Game members. Join the team if you're new here. Smash the sub button. It really helps out the channel. And the more we grow, the better content we can bring you guys every single day. And again, huge shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Quick question of the day for y'all. There have been multiple names omitted from my head coaching search, and it's starting to make me wonder if Monty Ossenfort is going to screw this higher up. It really is, okay? The fact that we're not looking at Mike McDaniels and Kevin Stefanski to me is insane. Just bottom line. But the question is this. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all, 10 being completely, how confident are you that Monty Ossenfort is not about to screw this higher up? Because it's not looking good to me. Maybe it's just me. It's not looking good. And again, it's still early stages and everything. We still have to whittle down the list and all. But with big jobs like the Ravens and the Steelers available, it's going to be like we might end up being getting the scraps, and that would absolutely suck. But either way, let me know, how confident are you that Monty's going to get this right, or how confident are you that Monty's not going to screw this up? There you go. Let's go with that. All right, folks. Bird Gang. This might not really change what we were going to do in the draft, the third overall pick in this April's draft, but it definitely changes what's possible. More importantly, it puts pressure on the two teams ahead of us picking, because Oregon quarterback Dante Moore has officially decided not to enter the NFL draft, right? Returning to Oregon for another season. That one decision reshapes the quarterback market at the top of the draft, and now the Cardinals are going to have to pay attention, even if they weren't planning to draft a quarterback at number 3, which more than likely we weren't. By the way, if you're Dante Moore, did you really want to come out and go to the Jets? I honestly do not think anybody wants to play for the Jets. Unless you grew up a Jets fan, and even Jets fans will tell you, like, whoa, why would I want to play here? But either way, what Moore returning to school means, it means Fernando Mendoza is the clear number 1 uncontested top quarterback prospect in this class. And that it's probably Ty Simpson, maybe number 2, maybe the kid from LSU, who knows? But Ty Simpson is more than likely going to be the next, the next guy, the next quarterback available, or the next best quarterback available. Now, the issue is that it's a steep drop. Okay, Moore coming out gave the top of the draft at least one more premium quarterback option, a player with high upside, right, national attention, and the kind of traits the front office is talking themselves into. Again, a guy that wasn't going to be ready to go right away, but a guy that you could sit behind, a competent starter, bridge guy, or whatever. Have Dante Moore develop and get better and learn schemes and get used to the NFL speed, and then play him in the second or third year of his career. Kind of like, Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for like 2 or 3 seasons, I think, right? So like kind of like that, right? That's what you get him for. You don't get him to play him right away. And I believe we certainly weren't going to do that had he fallen to us. But now that he's not even an option, we got to see how it's going to affect our pick at number 3. Some fans are going to say, so what, right? Cardinals are picking 3rd. Just take the best player available. And more than likely, that's what's going to happen. But here's why Moore's decision matters to us. When the quarterback class gets thin, 2 things tend to happen. Teams reach and non-quarterback talent falls, okay? And if Arizona stay in at number 3, that could benefit us, right? So because the Raiders and Jets are picking ahead, they're going to feel more urgency to lock in that quarterback option early with fewer alternatives behind them. Which means we could be staring at a gift wrap situation where an elite trench player or elite defensive prospect falls right into their lap. Are the Jets going to take Ty Simpson to number 2? I would love to say that I don't think they're that dumb, but I believe they're that dumb. They might do that, or they might trade out, right? It might even screw us over and take away one of those options that we were hoping for, and or they might take one of the options that we were looking for as well. But again, number 3 is a great place to be when you're not, especially when you're not super convinced at any quarterback with that pick, okay? Even before Moore returned to school, we likely weren't going to take a quarterback anyway. So, we're looking at something else. So now with him out of the draft, it becomes even harder to justify any quarterback picks in the first round for anybody, especially us, because we're not just one player away, clearly, right? And so we weren't going to miss on anybody. We weren't going to draft. Dante Moore was not going to go to us. He was going to go to the Jets or something. So the smarter move now is obvious. Build a foundation, right? So what do you focus on if you're the Cardinals? Trenches, and more trenches. All right, we got to build those lines up. With this quarterback class getting thinner, our best strategy is to go dominate the trenches. If look, you look at players who impact games every snap. offensive line, and defensive line. Okay, because if we want to win in the NFC West, we either got to protect whoever's playing quarterback for us, or we got to beat the crap out of whoever that's playing quarterback for them. Plain and simple. Especially in this division with 3 still in the playoffs, like caliber teams. They're still in the Seahawks still in it, Rams still in it, Niners still in it. One of those 3 is going to the NFC title. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Probably the Seahawks, but either way. So now we're looking at offensive tackle. Now we're looking at defensive end, right? A dominant linebacker, a true blue chip defensive piece, and it's gonna be something that's gonna beef up and maybe even change the identity of whatever side of the ball we end up going with, right? It also affects trade conversations. Here's the other angle, right? When there's only one clear top quarterback, in this case Mendoza, yeah, teams might trade up aggressively to get him. Now it's gonna be hard to convince the Raiders to give up the number 1 pick to go get Mendoza. I really don't think any team is that convinced of Mendoza to move up. If there was one, I would say the Jets would do it. I think the Jets are dumb. That's my opinion. But either way, what we're going to end up doing is stay and pick an elite non-quarterback, right? Or we're going to trade down if someone thinks someone is that dumb to come trade up and take Ty Simpson, honestly, in the first round. It'd be ridiculous, right? We could, trade, if they get jumpy, come get Ty Simpson at number 3 or whatever it is. We trade down, stockpile picks, fill more holes, whatever it is. But, it's not a surprise that Moore's going back. Really isn't. To be fair, staying makes more sense for him, okay? He threw for 3,565 yards and 30 scores. Jeez, I can't talk today. With 10 picks. And he's still very young, right? Plenty of room for decision, to refine the decision-making, improve the consistency, the way he progresses and all that. And the decision making for him is the big one. That's something I definitely need to see for him this season coming up in Oregon or wherever he ends up. Maybe he ends up transferring, whatever it is. But wherever he plays, we need to be able to see that improves. Otherwise, he's going to be another non-option for us next season, right? Because next season, I think we're definitely going to be looking at a quarterback in the first round. But either way, Cardinals can't count out a quarterback savior, right? Somewhere in this draft, it's just not going to be a number 3, and it changes what's going to be available for us, right? Now we might, if the Jets stay at number 2, right? If they don't take Ty Simpson, which, I mean, again, I would believe they could do something that dumb, but more than likely it won't happen. We might actually end up losing one of those key pieces that we're looking at. So, obviously, in my draft segment here near the end of the show, I'm going to be talking about a different position, and because we might end up missing out on a couple of defensive guys that I'm looking at. But either way. We don't need flash, folks. We need foundation. So that's what's going to end up happening, I think, in this draft for us anyway. But it's just wild to me. It makes me laugh because a lot of people were like, Jets fans were all over, social media the last, week, 2, 3 weeks or so, where they were like, Dante Moore, yeah, he's coming to New York. He's going to be this and that. And I saw a few get all salty because he went back. They're like, oh, F Dante Moore. He's a scrub and all kinds of crap. I'm like, y'all wanted him to be your quarterback savior 5 minutes ago. What happened? Fans, man. Fans. I'm telling you. Either way, we're absolutely... Cardinals anyway, are wasting no time trying to find our next head coach in terms of at least getting that list whittled down. After firing Jonathan Gannon following a brutal 3-14 season, now our candidate list is growing to a full, I think we're at 12 names now, a dozen names, yeah. Coaches that we've either interviewed or requested to interview, and the latest target is a familiar one. According to the Athletics' Diana Rossini, the Cardinals have requested to interview Houston Texans defensive coordinator Matt Burke. And it's an interesting name because he checks. For me, he checks 3 major boxes. Currently running one of the best defenses in football. He's coached all over the league and worked under a ton of respected staffs, right? And he has ties to Arizona. He was on Cliff Kingsbury's staff in 2022. So we're not just, we've seen him before, right? We know who he is. Okay. Now again, I'm more towards getting an offensive head coach, personally. But especially the way the league has been playing, and defenses can't touch anybody anymore, because everything's a freaking penalty. But I think it's definitely something we need to look at everywhere and look at everything. But Matt Burke to me is interesting, right? If you're looking for the quick resume reason why you would look at a Matt Burke is plainly production. Okay, he's been the Texans coordinator under head coach DeMeco Ryans for 3 seasons, and Houston's been a lead on that side of the ball pretty much the entire time, right? They have the number 1 defense in points allowed, the number 2 defense in yards allowed. That is dominant as hell. I mean, that's really good. If you guys saw what they did last playoff game, that was wild. And when you look around the NFL, right, one thing is consistent. Teams that win in January have either a great quarterback or a defense that can close games. We've seen teams win Super Bowls like that. We went to the Super Bowl with that. Now, Kurt Warner wasn't a scrub, but our offensive line absolutely was, right? And Kurt Warner was up there in age and everything. That defense, honestly, is the one that got us to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. So, either way, we've been missing either a great quarterback or a defense that can close games. So maybe Matt Burke creates that defense for us. Either way, we're not just hiring a coach. We're trying to restore like a culture, I guess, or credibility, right? Because a lot of people are looking at us like, why would Harbaugh go there? Why would Tomlin go there? Like, you can't knock them. You can't knock them for it. They got a point, right? Firing Gannon after 3 years, right? 15-36 record tells you one thing loud and clear. We're not interested in explanations anymore. Oh, it's on me. Oh, we got to do this. Oh, none of that. All right, we want results. It's a results-based league, folks. And while people can argue about roster construction, injuries, quarterback play, bottom line is the product was unacceptable. Plain and simple, right? No confidence anywhere on that staff, right? No discipline anywhere on that staff or the team, really. All right, and we had no identity. The entire season we were trying to figure out, that was the key word all year long with analysts and with everybody else, identity. We had none. Matt Burke can bring that, right? He's been coaching in the NFL since 2004, and that makes him different from a lot of those hot names that have been out there because he's been around multiple systems, multiple coaching trees, and multiple roles. Here's the path he's been on, okay? He started under Jeff Fisher with the Tennessee Titans between 2004 and 2008, working as an admin assistant and then defensive quality control. And then the defensive coordinator for them, Jim Schwartz, who is now, now he's getting a look as a head coach, I think, for somebody. The Detroit Lions from 2009 to 2013, linebackers coach and their head coach, Jim Schwartz. There you go. Cincinnati Bengals, 2014 and 2015. Linebackers coach and their head coach, Marvin Lewis. Not a bad name to have. Defensive coordinator, Paul Gunther. And interestingly, Vance Joseph was on that staff as well, right? Which, I think he was the DB coach in there. All right. He was also with the Miami Dolphins from 2016 to 2018. Spent time coaching linebackers under head coach Adam Gase. Say whatever you want about Adam Gase. Vance Joseph was a DC on that team. So when Joseph became Broncos head coach in 2017, Burke was promoted to defensive coordinator in Miami. So yeah, then he went out to the Eagles, actually, 2019 and 2020. He joined the Eagles staff with Schwartz again, first as special assistant, then run game coordinator, then defensive line coach. Then out to those Jets, those dreaded Jets. He served as the game management head coach under head coach Robert Saleh, another big name connection, another name we're looking at for our head coach vacancy. And then, of course, with the Cardinals in 2022, and this is the key part for us, because Burke was a defensive line coach in Arizona when Vance Joseph was the DC under Cliff Kingsbury. And then once that staff was let go, Burke lined up with DeMeco Ryans in Houston, and he's been killing it since. That's a guy who's been in every single room at every level of the NFL defense and then understands how to build systems that work, quite obviously. And, we're not looking for the smartest coordinator, right? We're looking for someone that can, and this is the question, this is the problem with coordinators. They always have trouble building a staff. In my opinion, that's always the number one thing. Matt Burke's not going to have that problem. He's been everywhere, okay? He's going to be able to build a staff. He's going to be able to manage a locker room. He's going to be able to develop young players and create consistent weekly performance. He's seen enough football and been around enough structures to know what works and what doesn't. So if the Texans are truly that good defensively, it suggests Burke isn't just riding coattails. He's contributing to an identity, right? It's not just DeMeco Ryans over there. So now, with the list at 12, the candidates include, so let's go over the list of candidates real quick, and I'll tell you whether I like them or not. Denver Broncos DC, Vance Joseph. I'm out on him. Miami Dolphins DC, Anthony Weaver. Any Dolphins, I'm out on. Kansas City Chiefs OC Matt Nagy should be banned from football forever for making freaking Kermit the Frog look like crap. Niners DC Robert Saleh, I'm in on that one. Seattle Seahawks OC Clint Kubiak, I'm in on that one. Former Atlanta Falcons head coach Raheem Morris, out. Patriots passing game coordinator and tight ends coach Thomas Brown, I'm out on him as well. I wouldn't mind bringing him in as a coordinator of some sort, but either way. Green Bay Packers DC Jeff Hafley, no. LA Rams OC Mike LaFleur. All right, interesting. I want to see where that one goes. LA Rams DC Chris Shula, out. Houston Texans DC Matt Burke, I'm in on that one. LA Chargers DC Jesse Minter, I'm out. So that's where we're at here, folks. We're looking at proven coordinators, guys with some head coaching experience, offensive minds, defensive minds, guys with leadership reputations. We're trying to cover every lane and find the one guy, okay? And that suggests that we're not locked into one identity just yet. So finding the CEO of this team is going to be hard. And as much as I want to see an offensive coordinator or an offensive-minded head coach, it's very likely we don't get one. Matt Burke might not be the biggest name on this list, but he might be one of the most stable, right? He's got the most, seems to me, have a lot more experience than most of the other coordinators. And if Arizona wants a coach who wants to bring structure, right, and a defense first standard, Burke deserves serious consideration. And the fact that they already know him for 2022, I mean, that's just, icing on the cake. He knows what it's like to be here. He knows how ugly it gets here. Maybe he accepts that challenge of being the savior of this team. And it sucks to feel like we're just like begging someone to come here at this point. It seems like nobody wants to, and I don't blame him, honestly. Do you? It sucks. It really sucks. But we really need to do really well with this hire. Okay. Oh, and I'll add this, because this one really ticked me off, right? And a name that I didn't even put in the list because I don't even want to talk about this guy. Somehow, for some reason, we're actually going to interview Arthur Smith from the Steelers. It's ridiculous, and frankly, the way this is sounding, we're going to end up feeling like honestly, the way that these names are coming out, and then the names that are not on here, this list, like McDaniels and freaking Stefanski, why we're not talking to those guys is stupid. Just dumb, but whatever. But it looks like we might even end up sitting at home going, man, we're better off with Jonathan Gannon, and then hiring an offensive coordinator for him because he's too stupid to hire a decent one. That's honestly what this is feeling like right now. It's really, really sad, but cross your fingers, Bird Gang. I'm really, really hoping that hey, hell, maybe John Harbaugh saw my clip that I put on the internet, and he's gonna be like, yeah, I want that challenging in Arizona. You never know. What we do know is that the football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get on all the gridiron action. Playing an Underdog is easy. Just pick your favorite players, where they're gonna go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, passing yards, receptions, and more. Get them right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. With marquee matchups coming up this weekend, of course, divisional round playoffs, it's all in your wheelhouse, folks, to win big with your entries on Underdog Fantasy. The divisional round is here, and if you're looking for one quarterback who could absolutely swing a game with one hot stretch, man, it is that one bad man out of the Rams, right? On Sunday, Stafford and the LA Rams take on the Chicago Bears, and this matchup is fascinating because it's strength versus strength, right? With one massive variable. Stafford in the playoffs has proven he's a different animal. He's a scary, scary dude. He's seen every freaking coverage. He's played in every environment. And when he gets rolling, dude, it could be scary, scary, scary for the Bears, right? He could pick apart zone coverage. We've seen him do it. If the Bears come out in a soft zone and try to keep everything in front of them, Stafford is more than comfortable taking what the defense gives him. He'll chip away, quick rhythm throws, intermediate, crossers, attacking those windows between linebackers and safeties. And if Chicago gives him a clean read, especially early on, and you let that man get in the rhythm, come on now. He's going to stack those completions. He's going to kick your ass, right? He's going to build that confidence, not only for himself, but that whole offense. That offense goes as Matt Stafford goes. The offense's confidence is sky high because Matt Stafford is on that squad, right? You get that Rams offense on schedule, right, on flow, and it's just going to be second and four all day. It's going to be scary for those Bears. And once that happens, that play action, can you imagine play action and Puka Nacua is just gone? That'd be crazy. He can exploit matchups with his weapons, right? The Rams are built to stress defenses. If Puka Nacua is healthy and rolling, Stafford's going to feed him. He's going to feed him like a toddler whose grandparents are saying he's too skinny. He's just shoveling food right in Puka Nacua's face, get him make fat, right? And the Bears are going to have to make a choice. Do you bracket Nacua and leave space everywhere else? Or do you play straight up and risk getting cooked by volume? Because Stafford's going to take whatever matchup he likes and attack it over and over and over until this defense proves that it can stop it, right? You want me to stop doing this? Prove you can stop it, right? The big one is this. Can the Bears pressure without blitzing? This is a real chess match in this game. Stafford's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league when he has time, probably the MVP, and one of the most vulnerable when pressure collapses the pocket quickly. If the Bears can generate that heat, right, with those 4 and keep 7 in coverage, that's going to slow them down. But if they can't, if they have to blitz, you're asking for it right there, right? You're just asking for it. I expect Stafford to be aggressive early, right? He's not going to come out with a feel-out thing. This is divisional round. It's time to put those tires to asphalt and move, okay? He's the type of quarterback who understands momentum too. So, he's going to test Chicago early. He just is, right? Especially downfield to see if the corners can hold up. And if their safeties bite on play action. 1 or 2 explosive completions early changes the entire defensive call sheet. It will, okay? And if Stafford hit 1 deep shot in the first quarter, that secondary is going to be in for a long night. Bring in lunch, DBs. It's going to be bad. All right, so give me Matt Stafford to go higher than his 270.5 passing yards, higher than his 2.5 pass touchdowns, honestly, higher than that 0.5 rush yards. If you can imagine, they just stay back, don't let him throw. He'll take, 5 yards here, so he'll get higher than that, I think. Higher than his 22.5 completions, and I'm going to go lower than his 34.5 pass attempts. I honestly think Matt Stafford's going to stamp his MVP win in this game. So it's going to be a wild one, folks. We'll find out if the Rams are going to take a step closer towards representing the NFC West in the conference title game. So what you waiting for? Download the app today. Use promo code FOOTBALLFAN on one word to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code FOOTBALLFAN. Underdog. Make picks. Win money. And speaking of picks, guys, because we're going to make a pick here in 2026 NFL Draft, it is going to be a big one for us. And while most competitions obviously are revolving around, the quarterbacks and the head coach candidates and all that, and what to do with third overall pick, there's another reality that we have to face. We need more offensive weapons. Now, I want offensive line. I've been saying that forever. But we got to look at the possibility that we take best available player, right? Whether either side of the ball. And there's one name that a lot of people aren't talking about yet, but it made me wonder, are we in line to possibly, maybe, look at Carnell Tate, the wide receiver out of Ohio State, okay? He isn't just a good player, right? He's the type of receiver that fits what we need, right? And fits what the modern NFL is turning into. Look, he's a smooth guy. He's a high IQ wide receiver with the kind of polish you don't always see in young prospects. At Ohio State, he was part of an NFL-style receiver room. Marvin Harrison Jr., I don't know if he was there at the same time, but he was, he's been in that room. And he's learned the pro concepts. He's developed into one of the best receivers in the country, or the program is one of the best receiving pipelines in the country, clearly. And because of that, he built a profile that scouts love. He's got really good, strong hands. He has clean routes, consistent separation, and the ability to be where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there, which is huge. That last part matters a lot, right? Wide receivers isn't just about highlights, it's about trust. And Tate has that, quarterback trust vibe. We'll just have to see who the quarterback's going to be here, right? Our offense has had flashes, but it's still missing consistency in the passing game. And one of the biggest reasons is simple. We don't always have enough receivers who can win clean, right? Tate projects as someone who can win at multiple levels, right? He the intermediate routes, the timing routes, the sideline throws, and chain moving catches on third down. He's not just a vertical guy. He's not just a gadget guy. He can do everything, right? And he can make the offense functional in the boring moments. And that would be kind of cool for our offense because our offense, is stagnant quite a bit. All right, we don't just need more talent. We need someone that's going to be reliable. Quarterback situation, uncertain. Maybe it's Kyler Murray. Maybe we get a rookie, right? Maybe it's Jacoby still. Whatever it is, whoever it is, that quarterback's going to need receivers that can run those right routes and do it in a timely fashion, especially with the O-line being crap. Now if we improve this O-line, even better, right? Carnell Tate fits that mold perfectly, and he's the kind of wide receiver who can help stabilize an offense when things aren't perfect. We already got the pieces. Trey McBride at tight end can dominate the middle of the field, right? Michael Wilson emerging as a wide receiver 1. Still working on Marvin Harrison Jr. as the true wide receiver 1 as everyone expected. I still think he's there. I know a lot of you guys don't, right? But relax, okay? Give that man some time. We get the right coaching in here, which hopefully we will. That guy's going to explode, and you do not want him to do it on another team. Bottom line, okay? So where does Tate fit? Dependable connector, I think, right? Keep the chains moving kind of guy, right? Beat zone deep coverage kind of guy. Make the quarterback right even when he's wrong kind of guy, that kind of thing, right? So, NFL's filled with freak athletes, but the receivers who last, or receivers who become, 1,000 yard guys year after year, are usually the ones that have really good timing and footwork, the IQ, right? The leverage, and they're consistent. Very, very key thing right there is consistent. That's what we need, right? He's a first round talent, not a top 10 pick. More than likely we had to trade down. Or maybe, I don't know if you force him at number 3, I think that'd be kind of hard to do because I want to go, obviously, offensive line. So who knows? Maybe that's what happens. But, we need a sustainable offense in 2026. So it can't just be about drafting a quarterback or hiring a coach. It has to be about building a reliable ecosystem. And Tate, I think, would be the type of receiver who can help create that ecosystem. I mean, imagine having 3 guys who could be wide receiver 1s on our squad, right? Regardless of who the quarterback is. I mean, it could even be Kyler. And Kyler could just do this and throw. He literally could do this and throw, and someone's going to catch it. Hopefully one of ours. I'm saying, I'm playing. But really, he gives them 3 high-level receivers and Trey McBride. Whew. Now, Monty, you better hire some good on that offensive line. You better, sign somebody good on the offensive line because we're going to need it, right? If there's a name, if he's there when the Cardinals pick in 2026, we're going to have to look at, he's going to be considered, for sure considered. All right, folks. That is going to do it for today's episode of Cardinals Daily. That right there, my personal socials. Hit me up, follow me. I'll follow everybody back as much as I can, and answer DMs and all that. And of course, follow on Cardinals Daily IG and Twitter. All right. Appreciate you guys watching this episode of Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law. Don't forget to hit that sub, hit the bell, hit the like, leave a comment. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the video. Ladies and gentlemen, Bird Gang, I rock with y'all till the wheels fall off, baby. Go Cardinals.